Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice because today we are doing another episode of Frightful Fridays in which I will be reviewing Abigail. It is a movie that comes out today. I actually saw it last night. In which, you can tell just from the previews, there is a group of people who are hired to kidnap a young girl and hold her for ransom and hold her while the people get the ransom for her. And of course, stuff goes sideways when they find out that the girl is a vampire, in which she starts to just go after them all. I mentioned to somebody that I was going to go see this movie, and they hadn't heard it. I said, okay, it's about a little girl that's a vampire. And they said, oh, I guess it sort of worked. You know, the little girl. Oh, they said, the dancing ballerina movie. I said, yes. I mean, the ballerina vampire movie. And I said, yes. And they said, okay, it worked with Megan, so let's just see. They figured it'll work with this. Which, I didn't really notice the connection until they mentioned it, but I didn't have high expectations when I went into this movie. I knew that it was R, so they were going to have some gore in it. I was really, really liking it. I mean, it's got Giancarlo Esposito in it. It's not a big role. It is not really pivotal, but it's important because he plays the guy that sort of gets the people together, which happens before the movie starts. There's about 5 people, and it has sort of a not usual suspects, but Reservoir Dogs aspect to it, because none of these people know each other and there's no names. So if someone gets caught, they aren't going to be able to rat the person out. And at one point they said, oh, what do we call each other? So they said, okay, there's Frank, Joey, Dean, and Don Wrinkles. And one guy says, I don't get it. He goes, okay, I'll catch you my little rat pack around. So the guy named everyone off of the rat pack, which I thought was a really kind of a nice reference. But this was a really kind of a smartly written movie, because usually there's in this, the bad guys, or whoever the victims are, depending on which movie you're seeing, just make incredibly stupid decisions, which ultimately leads to their demise. In this one, that really doesn't happen. I mean, there's one scene at the beginning where they realize that something's up, because they realize who this girl is the daughter of, and it's not someone you should trifle with. And they're like, oh, fuck, I'm out, we're out. But then they're like, okay, it's $7 million a piece. I need the money. So they decide, okay, we'll stick this out, and if things go sideways a little bit later, we'll go. And then when they do try and leave later, you see this in the previews, so I'm not giving anything away. Turns out that they're trapped and that they couldn't have gotten out of there anyway. So even if it was a smart decision to try and leave, they couldn't have done it. So that's one thing, is every time they even though they make smart decisions and not go someplace alone, they always go in groups. It doesn't work because of the situation they're in, and even though these guys are forced to work together, you know they're doing it under duress, because they don't like each other, they don't know each other, and they've gotten to the point where they're like, fuck you, I'm in this for myself, I'm only trying to survive. So there's that added tension to it too. And the only thing I wish I hadn't done was seen the previews ahead of time, because obviously I know the little girl is a vampire, and so the first little bit of times we'll be like, oh, what's going on? You don't, because you don't know who kills the first person, or you don't see who kills the first person. You know it's her. So I wish I could have gone in there a little fresh and gotten the surprise, but that's just me being a little picky. But it is just very well written, well acted, and there are times when it's funny as shit, just because these guys are snarky. They're their responses to things that happen. There's something I know I'd be saying a couple things like that during this, and they there's not the debating on vampires aren't real. I mean, they see what has happened, and it sort of reminds me a bit of From Dusk Till Dawn, where they're like, vampires aren't real, and you see what the fuck's going on out there. Yeah, they're real. So that puts that debate to bed real quick. They're just like, okay, we're dealing with this, and it proceeds at a good pace. There's not a lot of hanging around and bad decisions. There's good decisions, they just don't happen to work because they're outclassed, they're outgunned, they're outpowered. And even with the young girl not killing them right away, again you see this in the trailer, she doesn't want to. She's like, I like playing with my food. So she's you can tell she's bored. She's just trying to have some fun before she kills them. And every person in the cast does a very good job at portraying their character. Their goals are distinct. Each character is different. Their goals for doing this, I mean, aside from surviving, why they want to survive is their backgrounds are different. Each one did a really good job in portraying that character, and then the little girl is she's creepy as hell when she wants to be, and she's also very good at playing the little scared little innocent girl, and which the character's playing as well as I'm scared, and of course you realize that's all an act a little later, but that girl is a wonderful actress. There's only one or two things that I had a problem with, and one of them was hit me when I was on my way home. The first one was in the theater. It's just like, they're like, the girl says the only way you can kill me is drain me, and that's not how it happened. I mean, or they didn't try and do it that way. So it's like, okay, what, and then a little later, there is a scene where one of them gets turned by a vampire. They kill the vampire that changed the person, and that person is still a vampire. And then a little later, another one gets bit, and they kill the vampire that changed that person, or that bit that person, and they said, "You're fine, he's dead." It's like, wait a minute. That's the one that I realized when in the car on the way home. It's like, wait a minute. It didn't work for this one person. Why should it work for the other person? But that's that is the only minor complaint I have with that movie. Was that little thing right there, and the first one of the only way you can do this is maybe the person was lying about the only way you can do it is this way, because she lied a lot in that movie. And then again, that other thing, that, oh, you'll be fine, that may be a lie, because you don't see whether that person can get, maybe that person could get changed a little bit later. But those are a couple little minor little details. But I mean, overall the story was tight. It was fast paced. It was funny. There's a bunch of little pop culture references. What type of vampire is it? Is it the Anne Rice, or is it the Twilight, or is it just like look what the fuck you talking about? And the Rat Pack, and just all this, the people making relieving stress by making snarky, funny comments and stuff. And then it's also really suspenseful, because you don't know who's going to try and betray anybody, or if they do, and all that. And then you everything is revealed by the end of the movie. There's no questions as to why they got trapped in this building, why they're there, because it's obvious it wasn't for what was set up at the beginning. It was very well written, very well acted, and the look of it was incredible. They obviously, I don't know how big of a budget it was, but it was, whatever budget they had, it was very well used. And I have the feeling the people in this movie are going to have a good career later on, judging by their performances. And so I really recommend this movie. I'm going to give it a 4.75 out of 5, just because that little tiny minor detail at the end. But, I mean, it's obviously not enough to make it not recommend it or not enjoy it. It was a great movie, and I highly recommend it. If you enjoy a good horror movie, this is it. Go see it. See it in the theater. It's worth it, because it is. Anyway, let me know in the comments below whether you saw it or not, what you thought of it. Like, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy your movies.